Hello everyone, greetings of the day. Welcome you all for the 15th video of learning Swift programming language. These are the topics that we have covered from video 1 to 4, 5 to 8, 9 to 12 and in 13 and 14. Let's move towards the today's topic. The first topic that we are going to learn is strong, weak, unknown references. So before moving into the core concept, we need to understand about the basic things in this. The first one is about the memory leak. We have seen that some of the phones or laptop will get freeze, that is will get hang when we use. It is because mainly of this memory leak. Like the caches have been stored in the memory, unwanted things that have been occupied by the memory spaces, it causes the hanging. The same thing is this memory leak. In Swift, a memory leak occurs when a memory that is no longer in use is not deallocated properly. That is, we don't want some memory, but that still occupies our space. That causes unnecessary memory over time. And with this, our application will get hang or it will take some time to respond to the user. This all happens because of this memory leak. And let's see how this memory leak is happening. The first thing is retaining references. We know that for every class objects we will be creating an instance. That is a reference thing we will be creating in a memory. Even after the usage of that class, we will be deallocated it. But if the memory still hold a reference for that class, that we term as retaining references. So I will explain this in code, but try to understand in the theory first. ARC, that means automatic reference counting. This ARC will keep the count of the references in memory, so if the ARC is 0, then it will be deallocated from the memory space. If we have at least one ARC, means that is still one reference in memory, means it won't get deallocated. It still hold our spaces until it gets 0. We all know about this dinit, that is for and creating an instance we will be using init. Same wise, for deallocating an instance we will be using this dinit. If the ARC count is 0, Swift will deallocate the instance and prevent memory leaks. That is, if the ARC count is 0, means without even we didn't explicitly mention this dinit, it will be called and deallocated that instance from our memory. Thus, no memory leak will happen. But if the ARC count is 1 or more, then dinit won't happen. That means it still occupies our memory space. There are three type of references we can able to create. That is the strong, that is in default, weak and unknown. Let's see this in code. In order to explain about the references, see this example. Here I have created two classes, that is person class and car class. So every person will have a name, and I have created this car as optional. That is, he may have a car or may not have a car. So this variable is assigned to this car class. That is, this variable is of type car class, and this is the initializer while creating the instance for this class, and this is the dinit will be called when this instance get destroyed. Same here for this car class. So the car will be having a name, so that's why I have provided as a constant. And this owner property, this is a variable, and this owner I have mentioned as an optional. That is, the car can have an owner or may not. So this variable is of the property of person class, and this is the init I have mentioned here. If we create the instance, this will get assigned here, and dinit, when that instance get destroyed, this will get print. So these are about the two classes. And in this view controller, I have created two properties, that is Vivek of the person class and then Audi is of the car class. So this is the two thing, and here I have a function of create instance. That is, here the instance creation is happening for this property Vivek equal to person, and I have provided the name, that is this class we are creating an instance. For this class we are creating an instance. So it will ask for the name, and initially this car I am providing as nil. So Vivek doesn't have any car for now, and again I am creating an instance for this class. So here Audi is an optional for this car class. So here I am creating an instance. So the name will be Audi, and then owner is nil for now. And then in the view did load, I am calling that function. So whenever I execute this project 3, two instances will be created. That is one for the person and one for the car class. After creating the instance, I am marking the properties of Vivek and Audi as nil. In this case, while I am executing, I will get the output here as, while setting Vivek equal to nil, this D init will get executed. That is, Vivek class is deinitialized. Same for Audi is nil means Audi class is deinitialized. So this D init will get executed. So here we have created an instance, and if that instance, if we mark as nil, immediately it will be removed from our memory. So this is what happening here. Think about this scenario. Now Vivek.car. See here, for this car I have mentioned as nil. Now I am providing a value for that. If Vivek an instance is there, I am providing the value for car as Audi. That is, here this car property is expecting of the type of car class. So the Audi is of car class, so I'm assigning here. So the Vivek got a car and the car got an owner. So for this Audi class, we have an owner property. It is expecting of the type of person. So the Vivek is of type person, so I'm assigning here. And I'm making this Vivek instance as nil. So as we learned, if we made an instance as nil, immediately this D init need to get print. So if I execute this, I will get nothing will be printed here. This is because, see, we have this Audi instance dot owner is holding a reference to this Vivek instance. That is, now I have made Vivek equal to nil. So here it will check if there is any Vivek instance. So this does not happen. That is, Vivek has no car now. But the Audi class dot owner is holding a reference to this Vivek. This is a strong reference. That's why we cannot able to deallocate this class. For this, if I make this owner as a weak, in this case, if I execute the same thing, see what I will get. The Vivek class is deallocated from memory. That is, we get the D init print statement. Vivek class is deinitialized. This is because now this strong reference we have made it as weak. In the place of weak, even we can change to unowned. That is, weak and unowned we can use interchangeably, but the thing is this unowned can be used for the properties of constant as well, but the weak we can use only for the variable properties. That is the only difference between weak and unowned. See, now I have made the Vivek instance equal to nil. So this is nil now, and the reference of this Audi.owner, for this property owner I have made it as weak, so it doesn't hold any strong references. So when I execute this, Vivek will get deallocated, and I'm printing this, that is Audi.owner. Initially I have assigned this for Vivek, so what is the value for now? If I execute this, I'll get that Vivek class is deinitialized and the Audi.owner is now is nil because of this weak. If I made the Audi instance as nil, then if I execute, the Audi class is also get deallocated. We can do this in another way as well. See, initially I will make this Audi class, that is this Audi instance, as nil. So now I'll remove this. So if I made this Audi as nil, this thing won't happen because initially it will check the Audi instance is there, then only it will go and assign for this property. Now this Audi is nil, but still Vivek instance is there. So the Vivek instance dot car will have a reference to this Audi class. So what I'm doing is I'm making this property as weak. So the Vivek instance dot car, this property I'm making as weak, and now I'm making both these instances as nil. So in this case, if I execute this again, I will get as both the classes got deinitialized. This is because the automatic reference count is 0. If the automatic reference count, that is the strong references, if one or more, it won't deallocated from the memory. So this reference point counting is happening in the automatic reference counting. So as a summary, if we want to deallocate a instance from a memory, the ARC, the automatic reference count, need to be 0. So in order to make the ARC to 0, if we have multiple instances have a strong reference, we will be making it as weak or unowned. In the place of weak, we can interchangeably use the unowned, but the condition is that if the property is need to be a constant, in that case we can use unowned. But if the property is an optional, then we can use weak or unowned. Also we'll be having a weak self and unowned self. So in place of closures, we'll be using the weak self or unowned self. The other condition is similar. The next topic that we are going to see is UIAlert with Textfield. Here I'm going to explain about this application. So when I click on this add button, an alert pop-up will come and I need to enter a note. So I'm entering as note 1 and submitting it. So it will be added to this table. Again I'm adding the note 2. It is added to the table again. So likewise, what is the last thing I have added, that will come first here. So this is a simple application. I'm explaining this here now. Initially in the storyboard, I have added the table view controller, and I have mapped this table view controller with the class of view controller. and for this cell I have provided an identifier with the name of note cell, and then I have added the navigation controller, that is edit embedded in navigation controller for this. And then for this navigation controller I have made it as a scroll edge and provided the background color as red. And in the navigation bar of this table view controller I have added a button. So initially the button I have get from the object library I have dragged and placed here, and for this button I have made the style as done, and the system item I have provided the add, and the color I have provided is white color, and I have mapped this button into the add button pressed to this view controller. So this is what I have done in storyboard. After this, see, this is the button I have linked it from the storyboard and provided the name of add button pressed here. So this view controller I have placed it as a UI table view controller. Here initially I have provided an array of strings, that is note items I have defined here, and nothing I have mentioned in this view did load. So for this number of rows for that table will be depends on the note items dot count and what need to be shown in that cell. That is the for the cell identifier I have provided of note cell, and then for that cell text label dot text need to be note items of index path dot row, and I am returning the cell. So whatever the items in this note items that will be displayed in the table. When I press on the add button pressed, it will pop up an alert view controller. It will be having a title of enter notes. There is no message for that. After that I'm adding a text field into the alert pop-up that is showing, and it will be having a submit action button. So this is the alert action button, and I'm adding that alert action into this alert view. After that I'm presenting here. So what will be happen when I press on the submit action button? It will be having a title of submit, and the handler I'm providing here as a closure. So in order to have a weak reference I have mentioned weak self and weak AC. So here it will check in this alert controller if it is having a text field, and it will be having if it is having a text. After that it will store it as an answer, and this function will be called if it is having a value. So this function will trigger here. So whatever I have typed there and click on the submit button, it will reach here. Here what will happen is in this node items dot insert, I'm inserting what I have typed there at 0th position. That is the first position of the array. I'm inserting it. After that I'm defining an index path, that is I'm creating a new cell into that table view. After that I'm inserting that rows at this row 0 and section 0 with automatic. Automatic means it will be automatically decides the presentation thing. So this is what I have did in code. Whenever I execute this I'll be getting as an add button will be there. So when I click on this add button here, this will get triggered, and I'm having a table view. So there is no items as of now in this note item, so that it's showing an empty table view. If there is something, that number of rows will be taken from here, and what need to be there will be taken from here. So when I click on the add button pressed, I'll be getting the heading title as enter note, and I'll be having a text field here, and I'm having a submit button with the title here. If I enter something and click on the submit, that what I'm entering will be taken into this answer and calling this function. So I'm entering here as test1, and if I click on the submit, here this function will be calling, that is note items dot insert. It will be inserting into the array of this note items at the position of 0. That is the first item. It is taking as first item. So test2 I'm entering. So it will be taking and storing in this note items array of strings to the index position of 0. After that, I'm inserting a row into this table view. For this row, it need to be insert at the position of this index path, that is row 0 and section 0. And the presentation style of this insertion is provided as automatic. That means the animation is automatic. I have been provided here. So this is about this application. The next topic that we are going to learn is tab bar controller. The usage of tab bar controller is we can switch to multiple screens with the help of tab. See, here you can see the item 1. So when I want to switch to next screen, I can click here. So like this, multiple screens you can add on this tab, and then you can switch with the help of this tab bar. Let's see how to do this in code. When you open the Xcode storyboard, you'll be having only one screen will be showing, and that will be the initial screen. So if we want to add a tab bar, you can go to the object library, you can type the tab bar controller. See, you just want to drag and drop here. So this tab bar controller will be coming along with the two screens in default. So if you want to add more screens, you can add into this. So in order to differentiate between the two screens, I'm adding background colors for this view. So just selecting the view, and we can add the system background colors into any colors we have been required. And for this second item, again I'm providing a different color. And this tab bar controller need to be our first screen, means I just want to drag and place it here. So if we run the project, we can get that the tab bar controller will be our first screen, and we can switch between the item 1 and item 2. So in default, any of the screens will be showing as the first screen, that is the item 1 I have placed here will be showing as the, so this is the item 1. So this will be showing as the first screen. So if I want to change the name of this item 1, I can click here and change. So here the title is item 1. So if we want any like recent default thing, title and the image is provided by the Xcode here. So if I select just recent, the title as well as the image Xcode itself will be taken. If I change history, again the, see, the featured, the image will be changed and the title also will be changed. So if I want to provide any new title, then I need to provide image along with that, because that image here the Xcode will be provided along with the name itself. So like this we can change the title and the image of this screen's tab bar. So if I want to add a new view controller into this, so then I can control drag from here itself, and the relationship segue we can make as view controller. So in this case, you see I'm getting the 3 tabs now. So again I'm changing the color of this view. So if I execute this project, I'll be getting as the first screen here as the item 1, and then I can switch to the item 2 as well as the third screen I have been added. If you have multiple screens, you can add into this, and you can place which one need to come as the first screen. And as usual, as we work on the different screens, we can work into this each screen individually. This tab bar controller will manage to switch between the different screens from the single place. This is about the tab bar controller. The next important topic that we are going to learn is architectural design patterns. So before going to learn what it is, we can know why it is required. So there are a lot of reasons for that, but I have mentioned only three. That is, the first one is, with the use of this architectural pattern, our code can be structured in an organized manner, and it allows our developers to make change in one part of the code without affecting other parts, as well as it helps the team members to understand the code base more quickly. So these are the three importance why it is required. There are a lot of architectural patterns available, but we are discussing the major one, that is MVC and MVVM. The left side I have been shown is the MVC pattern, that is model, view and controller, and the right side it is the model, view and view model pattern. So these are the major two architectural patterns mostly we are followed. The architectural pattern will be chosen based on the program complexity. For the case of MVC, that is a model view controller. In model, we will be adding the data and business logic. Most of the business logic will be handled in the model. And in the view is the storyboard. That is what the user is seeing, that we will be having in the view. The model and view both are bridging using this controller. Model and view doesn't communicate directly, it will communicate only through this controller. See, when the user is interacting in the view will request a process to the controller, and the controller asking the data to the model. From the model, it will return the data to the controller again, and from the controller, if there is any UI change, that will happen in the view. So this is about the MVC pattern. So if we work on the projects, it may vary. That is, MVC will be having three different folders will be there, and we will be handling each files in these three folders for our understanding. So this is about the architectural pattern. So if our program complexity is more, that is we are working on a big projects and all, this controller cannot handle the whole things. So in that case, we will move to the MVVM, that is similar to this MVC. Only difference is, in the place of controller, we will be having a view model. That is, we will be having a controller as well as a view model will be there. That is the MVVM. Here also in model, we will be handling the data and business logic, and the view will be with the storyboard. And instead of one controller, we'll be having view model and view controller. That is, the IB actions and all will be connected with the view controller, and other functionalities will be separating to the view model. That is, if the project is big, we don't want to confuse in the view controller alone. So in that case, we can split to the view controller and the view model. That is the use case of MVVM architectural pattern. So choosing between this architectural pattern depends on the projects. So which project we have been required and what the client demands. So based on those, we'll be choosing the architectural design pattern. This is the basic thing I have been explained. The next topic that we are going to learn is UI text field and delegates. We have seen before the UI text field. Now we'll cover its delegates methods as well. So these are the five major delegates that we are going to see now. These delegates methods will be called automatically by the Xcode. Let's see this in code so that you'll get more clarity on this. Initially for this project, I just made a background color I have been provided, and from the show library I have dragged a text field. So here, from here you will get the text field. I just drag and provided the constraints here. And for this text fields, if we want any initial text to enter, we can write it here. in the attribute text place, and we can change the color and font if needed. And after that, if you want to capitalize the words what we have entered, so while we enter, those words need to get capitalized, means we can change it from here, the capitalization. And the keyboard type, some of the keyboards can be number pad or for phone pad, or if you type the email address, so like this we can keep the keypad for our text field entry. And then the return key, mostly in our keyboard the return key will be written as a return, but if you want to type it as go, you can do that. See, if I execute this, so only the text field is there, and you can see that return has been written here. So if I want to change here, I can mention here as go, and then I have provided a view controller. In that view controller I have mapped this text field, so you can see from here. So here I have made the name as text field entry. See, this has been mapped to this view controller. In order to make use of the delegate method, we need to adapt this protocol, that is UITextfield Delegate, to the view controller where we are using, and we need to mark that text field delegate to self. These two is mandatory in order to adopt the delegate methods. So initially I didn't provide any delegate method, so as I said before, I have changed the return to go here, so you can see the go button. And then if I type something and click on the go, nothing is happening. So I'm entering the delegate methods one by one now, and will show you what are the benefits of it. This is the first delegate method that will execute when we click on the text field. Some In some application we want to check some conditions. Based on that, we need to have the edit option for that text field need to keep or not. So that conditions we can check here. So that is this text field should begin editing delegate method. And the second delegate method is if we click on the text field, if we want to change the border color or border width. So this is an example I'm setting here for the understanding of the delegate method. So that and all we can set here. So if we click on the text field, and it allows the editing and what need to happen, that we can set in this text field did begin editing. The third delegate method that we have entered is the text field should return. That is, I have explained about the return button or the go button. So when we click on that, what need to happen? When we click on that, the keypad that pop up need to disappear. So that we can handle here. So what need to happen when we click on the return button will be handled in this text field should return. The fourth delegate that I have entered here is text field should end editing. That is, once the editing has been entered, that is after the keypad has been disappears, what need to happen? I want to provide the placeholder back there. So that's why I have kept here. If the text field is empty, text field is not empty, that will return true, nothing will happen. If it is empty means I will be placing this placeholder, enter text will be displayed in that text field. The last delegate method, the fifth delegate method I have entered here is text field did end editing. So this is the place where we are fetching what we have entered in the text field. So that text we can fetch from here. I'm just printing that text what we have entered. So if I execute this, you can see that initially the placeholder for this text field is written from the storyboard that I have mentioned in the storyboard itself as hello. And when I click on this, the first delegate method will be activated. That is, it is allowing me to edit. So if the keyboard doesn't pop up from here, you can press the command K to pop up the keyboard here in simulator. Okay. And then the second delegate method provides a border width and border color of blue that you can see here. And the third one, if I enter something and click on the go button, it will resign the keyboard. And the fourth one, should end editing. So after resigning the keyboard, I'm replacing this placeholder text here. Initially here it was hello, but after I'm resigning the keyboard, I'm replacing the placeholder text to enter text. And the last one, after this happened, I'm taking that text and printing. If I check on the console here, you can check that the enter text is, this is an optional value. So whatever we enter into the text field, it will be as an optional value so that we can unwrap it. And then I'm making the text field entry.text to nil. That is, it will be blank after that. So this is about the text field and its delegate methods. These delegate methods all will be called automatically by the Xcode itself. With this, we are wrapping the session for today. Thank you.